Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It's Capricares. Know that I care. And guess what? Care that I know. All this week, we want to talk about what's scrolling on the stream, your traumas and your triggers. Do you know your traumas? Do you know your triggers? If we are going to have a better mental health, a better handle on our mental health, we're going to need to know our traumas. We're going to need to explore what our triggers are because our triggers can reinvoke and reenact some traumas that we thought we had overcome or buried. So this week on Capri Cares, it's all about our traumas and our triggers. Stay tuned for a quick word of motivation. It's Capri Cares. As I always say, know that I care. And guess what? Care that I know. Good morning, it's Capri Cares. Know that I care that I know. This is our daily motivation and inspiration for our mental health ministry here at the Ephesian Primitive Baptist Church. It's Capri Cares. Know that I care that I know. What is your first thought when you think about your trauma and your triggers? What triggers your trauma? And all of us have had experiences where our traumas have triggered some things, and our triggers have opened up Pandora's box and led us down the dark hole back into trauma and traumatic experiences. Remember, I talked about transgenerational trauma that we have inherited. So that's a good place and good point. Make sure you put that in the chat. Inherited trauma. Yes, we need to know sometimes in our life, some of our trauma is inherited. Not that we want that trauma, but that trauma is inherited. And you and I, as believers, or those who possibly might not be believers, we want to make sure that we understand that trauma is passed down. It's genetic now. It's in our DNA. It's in our makeup, but that's not an excuse, but that is reality. So when we talk about our trauma, what trauma are you dealing with that, guess what, was given to you through the spiritual transformation of your soul? Um, don't want to call it a generational curse because I don't want to be on that side of the track or that argument. But yeah, some of us have to deal with those curses and those mishaps and those malaise in our life. And we need to know those traumatic experiences. Had a conversation with an individual that thought they had overcome a traumatic experience, and guess what? They hadn't overcome the traumatic experience, and something triggered it. And while they was being triggered, to say some things was set off, and some things got misinterpreted, and the conversation went a totally different way because those triggers invoked a trauma or an experience in the past that it still manifested itself in the present. And when we're dealing with our traumas and our triggers, we need to know that some of our past experiences can offset some of the things we're doing in the future or present. And that's what makes trauma so traumatic, is that not only did it shape our past, it's shaping our present. So we're talking about inherited and now your presence being shaped. Your present and then your presence. Let me say it that way. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Not only your present, but your presence is being shaped because of inherited trauma. Martha, thank you, Bishop McLean, for the word that you preached on yesterday. Whatever traumatic experience she had experienced, it made her jack Jesus up. That's what Bishop McLean said. Because of her trauma, because of her triggers, she jacked Jesus up. And there becomes a point and place in our life. We should not be trying to jack Jesus up, but because some things have triggered us, she jacked Jesus up. So today on Capricares, don't jack Jesus up. Don't let your trauma or your triggers affect your present and your presence. And remember, we have some inherited trauma. It's Capricares. Know that I care, and guess what? Care that